On June 29, 2018, LeBron James announced his decision to leave Cleveland and join the Lakers. It was a choice that wasn't as criticized as his first decision, but it did leave the Cavs in an impossible situation. Remember the last time LeBron left Cleveland? They accomplished zilch until he came back. Now, when he left to go to LA, this was no sign and trade or anything like that. LeBron left and the Cavs got literally nothing back. In a single offseason, they went from championship contenders to complete irrelevance. LeBron's gone, and along with it, the Cavs' fame and glory. However, in a matter of just a few short years, they've rebuilt from scratch and are now competing toe-to-toe with the top teams of the league. In fact, as of this video, Basketball Reference's playoff projections predict the Cavs will reach the NBA Finals. Perhaps we'll get another Warriors-Cavs Finals? That'll be one heck of a story. So, how did they turn it around so quickly? What did the thought process and decisions look like behind the scenes? How's it going, folks? My name's Andy, and let's get started. Let me ask you this. When a team says they're going into a complete rebuild, what do you think that means? Usually, you would think they'd trade away their core players for picks and accumulate assets over time, and sign a bunch of young players. But for the Cavs, they also overhauled most of their training staff, their player development staff, analytics department, health and science department, even some assistant coaches too. The organization wanted a completely fresh start to signify the beginning of a new era. It wasn't like last time when everyone was bitter that LeBron left on bad terms. This time, they made a conscious effort to rebuild. In terms of player acquisitions, the process would slowly begin. In the 2018 offseason, the Cavs had the 8th pick they acquired from the Boston Celtics, from the Kyrie Irving trade a while back. Thanks, Kyrie. They used that pick to select Colin Sexton, who would become the first core piece of this new saga. GM Kobe Altman knew this pick would officially start their rebuilding process, and drafting a guy like Sexton was instrumental in setting the foundation of the franchise. The funny thing is, Sexton was initially predicted to be a 10 to 15 pick. But when Altman was asked why he made this choice, he responded, "With our culture here, we want to bring in guys with great attitude, great work ethic, and most importantly, guys who really want to be here." Colin embodies all of that, and he's going to add to that culture right away. At this point, with a young Colin Sexton, the Cavs still needed way more. The roster was basically the same, except without LeBron, they had no hopes of going anywhere. That season, the Cavs finished with an abysmal 19-63 record. You know you have an abysmal season when the leading scorer of your team is Jordan Clarkson. Not only that, but injuries to Kevin Love forced him to miss 60 games. It was right after signing a $120 million deal, so that was a huge setback. But perhaps, maybe it was better that he didn't play. Due to Love's absence, they lost so many games. This horrendous record landed the Cavs the 5th pick of the 2019 draft, which they used to select Darius Garland. This selection was initially met with criticism. Why would they take another undersized guard? Can a backcourt of two 6'1" guards actually be feasible? Well, for one, Garland was, in my opinion, the best player available at that slot. Most mock drafts agreed. Him and Sexton are both completely different players too, with Sexton being more of a playmaker and initiator, and Garland more of a pure shooter. They play off each other quite nicely. Plus, drafting him is also an insurance policy. Just in case Sexton doesn't pan out, you still have another guard who can take his spot. ESPN's Mike Schmitz put it nicely. Based on talent alone, Garland is a top 5 prospect and a potential franchise point guard who is built for the modern NBA, thanks to his ability to shoot off the dribble from distance. He's highly regarded for his approach to the game and intangibles. In back-to-back drafts, the Cavs have now secured their starting backcourt of the future. This was an experimental season, where the Cavs took a very analytical approach as to who they should keep and who they should get rid of. First, they needed to see how well Sexton and Garland played together. So their 3 most played lineups across the season included both of them on the floor. They found out that while they still registered a negative net rating due to how bad their team was, they performed a lot better alongside each other, compared to if one of them was on the bench. This was great news because it means they're compatible. It's not like a Luka Doncic, Dennis Smith Jr. situation, which wasn't going to work out from the start. Sexton and Garland's skill sets actually complement each other incredibly well, despite being similar sized. Plus, they also discovered Cedi Osman was a nice piece to play alongside them, an energetic wing who matches their playstyle quite well. All of the Cavs' best lineups included Osman on the floor, and that's why they re-signed him. At this point, the Cavs had a decision to make. They've assembled some franchise cornerstones, but the bulk of the roster was still a remnant of the past. Guys like Tristan Thompson, Larry Nance, Jordan Clarkson, and Kevin Love were all on the trade block at some point or another, yet they were still eating a significant chunk of the minutes. It was a tumultuous season for all teams, as COVID suspended the season for 5 months, but it gave the Cavs time to ponder and figure out what to do. They came to the conclusion that they need to get rid of all of them. Within a year, Tristan Thompson was gone, Larry Nance Jr. gone, Jordan Clarkson gone, Kevin Love gone. Well, they tried numerous times to trade him, but nobody wanted to take on his massive contract. The Cavs front office has been very decisive and calculated about their approach to constructing this new roster. For example, they made a deal to acquire Andre Drummond, but after just 33 games with them, despite his gaudy stats, he wasn't a good fit. Drummond had a net rating of -7.6 when he was on the floor, and opponents shot 42% from 3, compared to just 36% when he was on the bench. That indicates his lackluster perimeter defense, as he routinely could not keep up with faster bigs who can shoot. The Cavs knew that three-point defense was the area they needed to improve the most in, so getting rid of Drummond was necessary. In this season, they would draft Isaac Okoro with the 5th pick. The hiring of JB Bickerstaff was a low-key move, but he's been around for a while. Known for his emphasis on spacing back in Houston, Bickerstaff brought that same game plan to Cleveland. With the right personnel, their offense quickly improved. However, above all else, the most major transaction of this year would be a major blockbuster trade involving James Harden. In that multi-team deal, the Cavs gave up Dante Exum and a future first-rounder for Jarrett Allen. Unlike Andre Drummond, Allen's a completely different beast and fits into their playstyle much better. The results speak for themselves. Fast forward to now, and Jarrett Allen has become the final piece to push them back into the playoffs. Not only did he make an astronomical jump, but he transforms the defense in a way that Drummond could only dream of. With Allen, the Cavs went from the 25th best defense to 3rd. The numbers are great, but Allen's best contributions are not on the box score. He's arguably the most agile center in the league right now. He can actually keep up with smaller guys in a pinch. He can defend the pick and roll and finish the pick and roll, but it's not just a one-way relationship. Allen also benefits greatly from the Cavs guards feeding him. He's 2nd in the league in both field goal percentage and true shooting percentage, right behind Rudy Gobert. Combined with fellow 7-footer Evan Mobley, the Cavs' 3rd overall pick of the draft, the two of them quickly became a dynamic duo, the New Age Twin Towers. Take a look at some of their lineup stats here. Literally their top 5 most played lineups, with 4 of their top 5 highest net ratings, include both Allen and Mobley on the floor together. The two of them are both in the top 7 in most shots contested per game, with Mobley being 3rd. That's a clear sign of a great frontcourt pair. I feel like the power forward and center combo has befuddled many other teams over the years, as it always seems like one guy is the odd man out. But not for the Cavs. Every player they drafted and traded for was very meticulous to their game plan. You add on Lauri Markkanen, another 7-footer with a completely different skill set than either of them, and now it's easy to understand why they're dominating by playing big. Actually, I remember when the Cavs announced they re-signed Jarrett to a $100 million deal. Then they drafted Mobley, and then they signed Markkanen to a massive contract too. People were confused. They were like, what in the world are they doing? Are they really gonna play 3 7-footers on the floor all at the same time? Well, it looks like they are, and it's working. For Allen, his development over the years has been the highlight of the Cavs. When he first came into the NBA, he never had any plays ran for him, but now even he's surprised he's getting more play calls. When talking about this to a reporter, he stated, "Over the summer, I made that an emphasis to try to be able to create my own shot. I'm not used to getting plays called for me. I've probably had more post-ups this season than my whole career. That's the honest-to-God truth." With the improvement of Darius Garland and Kevin Love's new role off the bench, everything seems to be coming along swimmingly. The only question mark right now is Sexton. When it was announced he tore his meniscus and would miss the rest of the season, it was a devastating blow. However, the Cavs built a well-rounded roster to withstand his loss, so even without him, they've got enough to win. Like I mentioned earlier, according to all the analytics and projections, they're predicted to reach the finals. That still seems crazy when I say it. They've been that good. Thank you all so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Where do you see them finishing in the playoffs this year? Do you think they'll actually reach the finals? Let me know in the comments. I hope y'all enjoyed the video, and of course, as always, I'll see you next time. Peace.